Welcome back to another edition of Legit vs. Replicated, aka Real vs. Fake, and so forth. These videos are for educational purposes to help people authenticate their products at home and maybe even give a little bit of assistance to authenticators out there looking for additional ways to authenticate a shoe. Now, my personal opinion, I always think the best way to authenticate a shoe is directly from the authentic pair sitting next to the unauthentic and so forth. Now, the world isn't always nice about things like that, so a lot of times the authenticators got to judge it off by the shoe alone, probably photos and so forth that they have. So that's why I do these videos, to help people out there and help people out there not get scammed. Don't sell reps as retail. Y'all know the drill. So in this particular case, we got the early pair of the Jordan 11 2024 Legend Blue, aka Columbia's. The authentic is here. The rep is here to the left. As usual, the box is smaller. We know that, right? If you've watched my videos enough, you know I always call those little things out. Now, what I do want to say is that the lid is a little bit beat up. This is the risk you take when you get early pairs, guys, even from trusted sources. No bad mouthing, nothing like that. It is what it is. That's how it came off the pallet. That's how they even got it. So it is what it is. But thankfully, the sneaker game is very different now at this point. So no, this is not a $400 or $500 off rip pair. Things are a lot lower cost nowadays for these items. But nonetheless, let's go ahead, get into the review here. We're going to start off as usual with the authentic box label, then to the rep label, then to the shoes. Let's go. So here we are with the authentic label. As you can see, crisp, clean, pristine, no question, no price tag. You see the last three digits end in 514. Currently on the market, StockX does not have these on this date, October 11th, guys, of 24. They do not have these on their actual platform for sale. So you're not going to be able to confirm the UPC, but this is an authentic pair, no doubt. And obviously it ends in the last three digits, 514. And, everything is correct here. The Air Jordan 11 Retro with the color code, color description, and so forth. Let's have a look at the rep. So here we are with the rep. Right off the rip, we already know this is a replicated label, not because of, let alone, it does match the last 514 UPC code. However, these numbers here in the middle are incorrect. Look at the color code. The authentic pair says Legend Blue. This pair says Columbia Blue. Off rip, it's a fake. If you get caught in the street on the secondary market trying to buy this stuff and you see Columbia Blue for your 2024 pair you're looking to buy, it's automatically a rep, no doubt. One thing I do want to add, this is a top replicated rep. Some factory they call LJR. So this is the top of the line per se. So they are scammable pairs. So be careful out there. Let's keep it moving. So real quick, we're back to the boxes. I want to show the internals of each real quick. Let's see how things look inside. Obviously, there's the authentic with the internal tissue paper with the shank print all over it. Let's see, got the YDMO sticker in there. And let me double check under the lid of the authentic. Let's make sure there's no stamp. And no stamp. Let's go ahead now and have a look at the rep. Let's see, did they even get the tissue paper right? Technically it's close, except the authentic is not a waxy paper. The replication, they used a waxy, oily paper. And a little bit of a darker color tone of the shank print on there. Here's under the lid and nothing. So we know that much. So now let's go ahead and move forward to the shoes. Okay guys, so here we are. Let's get into it. Authentic to the right, replication to the left. And let's go ahead and have some fun here. Again, this is for educational purposes only. I do not support the promotion or selling of replicas, fakes, or whatnot. So again, authentic to the right, rep to the left. You can see right off the bat, the outsole is darker here on the authentic than it is on the rep to the left. Now the replica is a bit overscaled, meaning it's a bit larger than the actual authentic size 12. This is a size 12, but you can kind of tell it's a bit larger, overscaled. That's what I mean by that term. The toe box on the replication to the left looks a little bit longer, right, in length than the patent leather toe box on the rep. It looks a little bit shorter, snub nose, as you can see, but very close, very scammable nonetheless. Also, let's look at the upper here. Now, they are both leather, but I will say this, the rep is it's a softer, smoother leather. On the authentic, it's smooth, but it's tight, right? It's a little bit more of a stiff leather versus the softer leather here on the replication. Also, you can notice right here, you see the first lace on the rep, the lace hole here, you see the size of it versus the authentic. See how much longer it is on the authentic? That's another authentication tactic you can use. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and compare the Jumpmans. Here we're going to do a little switcheroo real quick. Authentic on the left, rep on the right. And as you can see here, the Jumpman on the authentic here is a darker powder blue than it is on the replicated Jumpman powder blue. It's just a bit darker here on the rep. Excuse me, on the authentic. It's a bit darker on the authentic. Looking at the rears here, again, authentic on the left. The white vibrancy on the authentic to the left is a lot stronger versus the replication to the right. And the 23 actually looks too small. It's smaller, as you can see, versus the authentic to the left. Also, looking at the stitching here, not as good of a stitch job compared to the authentic to the left. You see here, you see going down the spine here of the patent leather where it meets, you can a little bit, okay, see the stitch lines. Here, you see it all. You see it all, can't miss. And then looking at the stitching above, it's nearly identical. The stitching is just not as close to the other stitch line as it is in the authentic. Also, here's the outsoles again. Authentic left, rep right. You see it's a black gloss on the authentic versus a flat matte black on the rep. Again, the lighter icy blue outsole. And on the authentic here, looks like we have a little bit more of this is like a dull powder blue versus a little bit more brighter or vibrant on the replication. Let's go ahead and get back to it here on these. So let's see here. Now, looking here now at the strips going across the ballistic mesh on the tongue, darker powder blue on the authentic, lighter powder blue on the replication. Looking at the ballistic mesh, let's just call them what they look like, these little dots here. Not much breathing room. They're all like right on top of each other versus the authentic, which they're close to each other, but they have some spacing in between to breathe. I'll say that much. Looking at the sock liners here, again, the authentic, nice clean strip of black versus the rep. It's like a different black. It's like a darker black, actually. Not as thin, a little bit overscaled. Let's have a look at the medial here. There we go. Again, authentic on your right, rep to the left. And yeah, it's like a different color tone of white on the patent leather on the left here on the rep versus the authentic to the right. Pretty interesting. And you can see the different color tones in the outsole and in the shanks there, carbon fiber shanks. Very, very interesting nonetheless. Let's see, the tongue heights do seem to match. And let's keep it moving. Let's get to the other shoes and then we'll dig further into everything else. So this time rep is on the right, authentic is on the left. And again, this time around, the lace loop at the top near the collar looks to nearly be the same size as the authentic to the left, but it's still a bit smaller or shorter, as you can tell a little bit better in person. And again, same thing here. The powder blue on the authentic is a bit darker than the than the replication powder blue. And again, ballistic mesh again. The dots on the ballistic mesh on the rep here to the right, they're very close to each other here. They're just a little bit more spread out, wider, cleaner look. Toe boxes again, authentic left, rep to the right. Again, it's just overscaled. It's not really like a chubby toe box on the replication to the right. but it's very close, just a little bit overscaled, a little bit too large. Very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and have a look here at the Jumpmans again. Yep. Okay, so we have here, excuse me, a again darker powder blue Jumpman on the Authentic here to the right versus the Replication to the left. And then again, the 23, a much more vibrant 23 on the Authentic to the right versus the 23 to the Replication to the left, and the 23 is smaller, as we already called out on the other pair. And again, the stitching, look at the spine of the Rep. You see the stitches here? Not really. Very minimal. Very minimal. And there you are seeing the color tone differences of the outsole, that icy blue. Here we are again. We got the glossy black on the Authentic here versus the matte black on the Replication. And again, this time around looks like the powder blue is a little bit lighter on the shank here on the Authentic versus the darker on the Replication. Interesting. And we'll leave it at that. And we're going to get into the shoe trees now and see if they went ahead and did that correctly. Let's have a look here. So the shoe tree in the Rep is going to be this plastic one, as you can see, right? I mean, looks good, cool, nice. Nike does do that from time to time. Let's grab the other one. There we go. The other. Now let's look at the Authentic. And as I expected, just straight up internal tissue paper, guys. Nothing else to it. So the Authentics do not come with the plastic internal shoe trees. Yep. There we go again. So, okay, now we're going to move on and go ahead and get into the insoles. So here we are with the insoles. Right is retail, left is the Replication. And looks like they used a richer, deeper black on the Replication versus the Authentic here. Now the Nike Air is definitely sharper and cleaner on the Authentic than it is on the Rep, as you can see the lines and so forth through it. And actually the Nike Air, the AIR is small, where it's supposed to be bigger here on the Authentic. So here we go, night and day, guys. Here's the rear of the insole, and you got all this here on the Rep, where here it's different. AJ11, OF8H, MS12J, here MS12A. Let's see, it does not have, nope. So the insoles for this new Jordan 11 Legend Blue does not have the box with the text in it. They're not doing that. Now, this pair I have is definitely a USA pair. I don't know about the overseas pairs down the line, so we'll probably have to do some more real versus fakes in the future, but these things do fluctuate with the color of the stitching inside and the insoles as well at times. So let's keep it moving. So now we're going to look at the internal footbeds quickly. Here is the Replication. Now on the actual tag, it says the factory that created it is the SZ factory. S as in Sierra, Z as in Zulu. And the dates of April 17th of 24 through May 8th of 24. And the internal stitching is white on the actual footbed, and it has a stamp, the notorious stamp, back and forth. I remember the whole nonsense with the cool grays a few years ago. But as you can see, it is internal white stitching. So for right now, if you see internal white stitching in your early pair, you may want to question what you got. Only because on the Authentic here, it is black stitching, no stamp, and the footbed is different. It's almost like a rubber Dynomat footbed, as you can see there. Let me just double check the Replication real quick. Here, it's rubber too. It's a different texture. It's a completely smooth texture, while the rubber on the internal bed here is a much more has a texture of like a grainy texture on it. I'll say that much. But it does have black As you can see, they're black stitching in there. And let's look at the factory. The factory here is LN as in Nancy, M as in Mary, so LNM, May 3rd of 24 through September 10th of 24. So we got different dates. So at least you know the dates of the current early pairs. And let's go ahead and keep it moving. Okay, guys, so thanks for hanging with your boy. One disclaimer I do want to give on this, guys. Again, this is an early pair. This is what is going to be released domestically. Now, internationally, guys, there may be some differences between the authentics, which is typical. They're going to make, as Nike does, they're going to make like nearly 1 million pairs of these or better, right? They use more than one factory. So even though I said this is L&M factory and this fake one said SZ factory, rightfully so, there actually may be actual SZ factory out there making authentics, and they may even look closer to this. I would say the color contrast between the powder blue strips here, in my opinion, I think they're not going to fluctuate. It's going to be the color that is on the authentic. The difference, in my opinion, may be that outsole. It could possibly be lighter than the authentic as for what we know at the moment, but we're going to have to wait for those international pairs to come out, release, and so forth, and do some comparisons down the line. So that's my disclaimer with this. So this is not the end all be all of authenticating your shoes. However, for right now, we got white internal stitching in the reps. We got black internal stitching in the authentics. Could they update that in the reps? Yes, they can. Could there be authentic pairs with white stitching? Yes. And if that's the case, most likely the overseas pairs, okay? But I guarantee Nike's going to use like 2 or 3 factories, maybe 4, to have gotten these 1 million pairs done, okay? Because that's a lot of stress to put 1 million pairs on one factory. That's not really good business, and you're really going to have some bad QC. But with that, I appreciate you hanging out with your boys, sticking out this long to watch, to actually watch me do this video. And hey, y'all know what it is. We out.